My first guest doesn't do a tremendous amount of this talk show type stuff. He grew up in Brooklyn where he learned how to street fight. In 1979, he joined the Hells Angels, spent 6 years in prison, and now he's an incredible actor, author of the new, most riveting read of a book I've ever had. It's called Street Justice. Please welcome Chuck Zito.
Good to be here.
What's happening?
Us.
Yeah, Brooklyn's in the house.
Brooklyn's in the house.
In like seconds, how long would it take for you to kill me with those bare hands if you wanted to? It'd be that quick. It'd be over
by now.
It'd be over by now. It would have been in the handshake. Thank you for being here. This book.
Thank you for inviting me.
And it was nice. I ran into you out in New York, and we were talking about the book, and I'm glad you made time to come on to talk further about it. It is unbelievable, the story. It's called Street Justice, about your life and all of the many facets of it. Why did you want to write this book?
Well, for the last 6 years, my friend Philip Carlo, who's an author, and he has an agent, Frank Wyman. They've been telling me to write a book, because I've done so many things in my life. And at the time, 6 years, I didn't think it was any point in doing it. But then I realized as time goes on, life goes on, and especially getting out of prison, it was time to write a book.
Was it hard
so I wrote a book.
And you certainly did, believe me. I don't even like to read, and I couldn't put this book down. I got to be honest.
I don't like to read either, but I read it too, so.
It was really good.
Not bad.
What are people saying to you about this? And this book deals with Chuck's life growing up in Brooklyn and many things after that. Recall certain instances from prison, from the Hells Angels, from acting, from doing stunt work, bodyguards, all kinds of stuff. What are people saying to you about this book?
Well, mostly everybody has read it already, said it was a great read. It's fast. They couldn't put it down.
Right.
Which is, myself, if I read 1 or 2 pages and I find it boring, I put it down.
Right.
But I've got so many calls at night, saying people in the middle of the night, did I wake you up? I says, yeah, good, because I can't put your book down, and I'm up. So it's just a good read. It's fast, and it tells it like it is.
Can I ask you a couple questions about the Hells Angels?
Sure.
Because you read a lot about it, and I think most people who are watching are very fascinated with the most feared and notorious motorcycle club in the world. What sorts of things do people just generally want to know about the Hells Angels when they talk to you?
You know, basically, the most question I get is, how do you become a Hells Angel? People say there's all kinds, the myths you hear, the stereotype, the initiations. You have to be 21, have a Harley Davidson, that's how you start. You go up to your local Hells Angel charter, or you meet a Hells Angel, say, I want to become a Hells Angel. You state your intentions, and that's how you start.
Right. How many are there in the world?
There's so many Hells Angels in the world now. It was a club that started March 17, 1948, in San Bernardino, California. And in 1954 went to San Francisco. Then Sonny Barger started the Oakland Hells Angels, April 1st, 1957.
Right.
Then it spread through the East Coast in the 60s and went all over the world. And there's charters in Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Australia, Holland, Paris, New Zealand, Africa, Spain, Italy. It's just the biggest club there is.
It seems like when the press ever writes about Hells Angels, it's always something negative, or a lot of people's perception if they don't know better. And maybe that's why I found this book interesting, because I learned a lot about the club itself. There's a perception that might be something negative, or with drugs and the such. How do you feel about that perception?
The thing that gets me the most is saying how we're all drug dealers, we're drug users. Well, I'm the proof we're not, because I don't smoke, I don't drink, I never took a drug in my life. I've never even smoked a joint. I guess I'm a boring guy, I don't know, but I never even tried it.
No, you're really not a boring guy, believe me.
I've just never done it, and I hate it because I wear a Hells Angel jacket, that I'm stereotyped, or people believe that I'm a drug user or something, and that's what pisses me off. There's so many people, even in a police department, a big precinct, the whole precinct was like 13 police officers were involved in extortion and loan shark and selling drugs, everything. But you know what? You can't condemn the whole police department for a few bad apples.
Right.
And we want that same consideration and respect, because even though I'm not going to deny that certain Hells Angels don't sell drugs, but that's for their own personal gain and profit.
Right.
The club doesn't make money for you, and you don't make money for the club. Right. But if a person does get caught, Joe Schmo selling drugs, never read about it. But Joe Schmo, the Hells Angel,
right, the whole organization gets.
And I just want that same consideration, because like I said, I never did it. And
right.
That's what I get mad about.
You talk a lot in Street Justice. There's a lot of A lot of guys get the crap kicked out of them in the book.
Who deserves it?
Right, at your
You never hit
expense.
somebody.
And that's my question for you. You've been fighting for a long time, growing up. What is the why have you fought so much, do you think? What is sort of the root of that fighting? Are you defending? Is it about respect? What has it been about?
You know what? Before you're Hell's Angel, you have to be a man first, and it's all about respect anyway. It's if people had more had respect for each other in this world, we'd be in a lot better society. But my father was a professional fighter, so I grew up young. I remember when I was 5 years old, he was on his knees teaching me how to box. And when I was 12 years old, I had my first ring fight in front of an audience in New Rochelle in the Southside Boys Club. So I started early, at an early age. And you know what, I have a saying in life, you treat me good, I'll treat you better. You treat me bad, I'll treat you worse. And I just want to be treated, I treat people the way I want to be treated.
Right.
And if you go outside the lines, you go, you know, we could take it to another level. And sometimes it happens.
So boxing, from a young age, obviously the street fighting, which brings probably a more mental aspect into it when you're in the street, utilizing the boxing skills, and then like 6 martial arts.
I've trained 6 different styles, 2 forms of Kung Fu, White Crane and Tiger Claw, Ishu Karate, Jukido Jiu-Jitsu, Kumite Ryu Jiu-Jitsu, and Vietnamese Jiu-Jitsu. And training 3 different styles of weapons. And now I'm combining all of them together, and I'm coming out with a video myself called the Chuck Zito Street Survival System. Gross.
Have you ever thought about doing that Ultimate Fighting Championship?
I've thought about it a few times. Actually, tonight is a good fight, so we got to go and watch it. Go to the scores and watch the fight.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
You know, it only takes 1 punch to really seriously hurt somebody. So there was a kid who was 19 years old. He was training. He was a good martial artist, good shape, and he had to fight. And the next thing you saw him, he had all tubes and he was in a coma.
Right.
So I says, hey, is it worth 60 grand?
Probably not. Let's take a quick break. More with Chuck Zito right after this. The music of Craig David. You're watching Last Call right here. We'll be right back. Craig David will be out in a little bit. Chuck Zito is here. The book is Street Justice. It's an incredible read, and it's not, I don't know. I was going to say guys would be up all night reading this, but I think there's a lot of lessons in life that even females would read about. It's funny, the picture on the back of you and Bill Clinton here.
Me and Bill.
That's just a funny picture.
It is, it is. Actually, you know what, when we were taking that, I had to ask him. I had reached down and I said, hey, Bill, what's with that dress? He goes, hey, you know what, she's full of crap. There's no stain.
Oh! That's great.
I had to throw that in.
The political side of Chuck Zito. Let's leave it at that. I know
I'm on
you.
HBO.
Yeah, right. We should be. You love cars.
They don't bleep a lot of stuff out.
No, they really don't. It's so late at night. I think they forgot we're here. A few friends, you, Craig David, let's just chat openly and honestly. You love cars, obviously love motorcycles. Do you have a preference, one of the two?
Well, I love them both the same. I'm a very big car nut. I have a lot of, especially muscle cars. I have an 81 Corvette, an 82 Corvette, a 1957 Chevy. I just bought a 1970 Chevelle Super Sport, and I also have an 87 Mustang GT. I
just got a 77 Corvette. That was my old man's when he died.
I heard that. I heard that.
How does your Corvette run?
Good.
Yep.
Good, great. Well, I did the black one. I have a black one out in California. I used to go there a lot when I worked, but I'm not working that much. I used to. Actually, I'm unemployed actor. Anybody got a job out here?
No, you're not.
I am. Oz is over.
What's going on with that? Well, Oz has got one more season. We already shot it.
We shot the 6th and final season, and it airs in January.
Are you bummed that's over?
Yeah, I'm bummed because, you know what? We have the highest ratings we ever had. We have more fans than we ever had, and Tom wants to end the show. He wants to do a new series called Baseball Wives.
Are you joking? Are you serious? Really?
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. He wants to end it. Baseball Wives. Give me a break.
You did.
It'll last one episode. Sorry, Tom. No.
You did 4 months in a Japanese prison,
Yes.
6 years in the American prison.
Yes.
2 questions. What's the difference between your time in Japan and your time here?
Well, Japanese prison, I think the worst prison in the United States is like a hotel compared to Japan. But it wasn't that bad for me because I was locked down 23 hours a day, so I was never in general population. I was like the only American in there. And besides another Hell's Angel was with me. But I never saw him the whole 4 months. And they just lock you down because I was American, and then they take you out for an hour, they put you in a cage, like a kennel. I did
It's more inhumane in Japan than it is here?
It's not, I wouldn't say inhumane, but they're very strict out there. That's why there's not much crime happens in Japan. You know, they really downgrade you there when you go to prison. They have the Yakuza, like they're called, like the Chinese mafia. They have all permed hair. They cut their pinkies off, and they all have tattoos. So they make them wear long sleeve shirts. They cut all the hair off, and they can't do nothing about the pinky. But they degrade you over there.
Did they put you in like lockdown because you would have stuck out?
Well, I was locked down 23 hours a day in my cell. So, and then they would only take you out for an hour and put you outside. So I would just skip rope and do my katas and stuff, and everybody else would look at me because, like I said, I was like the only American in the prison.
Were you the only one on Oz who had actually done time?
I believe I am, yes.
So did they come to you to make sure things were authentic, or?
Well, Tom would ask me if things would, if they would do it this way, or if they would, like, you can only smoke a certain. Now I heard they stopped smoking altogether, but.
Even in prisons you can't smoke?
Yeah. Actually, in prison, they just took
That's
all
why
the
California is
cigarettes
like a prison.
away, and also all the gym, all the weightlifting. You can't weightlift no more.
You can't lift weights or smoke in
Because
prison?
the inmates were getting bigger than the guards. So you'd have all these inmates walking around like this, and all the guards, you know, they would.
Do they worry now? Because wasn't that a great way, or wasn't it a great release for you?
Well, sure. I mean, that's the only thing you do is besides going to sleeping and going to the gym, and everybody has to work in prison.
What are inmates going to do now with all that pent-up frustration now that they can't lift weights? Will that be channeled somewhere else?
I hope so.
Right.
I hope so, because the weightlifting was a great, besides exercise, for mentally also.
Right.
So.
You talk in your book about being stepped to when you get to a new prison, and you were shuffled around quite a bit. What does that mean to be stepped to?
In the 6 years I was in prison, they shuffled me around like 19 different times. And like any prison, like anything, it's you're like the new kid on the block, so people test you. So if you don't stand up for what your rights, other people will violate you.
Did you feel it was unfair because you kept having to move around? You were in 19 different prisons. It's like, if I go to jail for 5 years, I want to be stepped to and be like the new kid on the block that one time, and then stay there and earn my stripes or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny, right?
I did Howard quite a few times, and Howard goes, Chuck, what would they do to me if I was in jail? I looked at him, I said, Howard, you'd be bent over a lot. Yeah.
And that's Howard. I can only imagine what they do to me.
But it's rough, and I don't recommend prison for anybody, man. If somebody's doing something, just don't get caught.
It's really that bad.
Yeah, it's people don't realize what their freedom means until it's taken away. When that cell door clangs shut, it's an eerie feeling, and it's rough. So I don't recommend it for anybody.
Right. No, well, listen, I certainly don't want to be there, and I don't want you to be there, and I don't want anybody I know to be there. And so how come you're out of work? Let's talk about this. Can we get you a gig? What can we do for Chuck Zito? You would, in this age of reality television, and somebody like Ozzy Osbourne's a big star.
I heard you were looking for a host here.
Oh, boy.
You know? Aren't you looking for a host?
I'm not looking. You like my reaction, though? My heart's racing a million miles an hour, but I thought, you know what?
He's boxing now.
I read the book, and I'm like, Chuck says in the book, don't act scared. Meanwhile, I think I did just piss my pants. I gotta be honest. I really did.
No, I'm just another.
Is that still the deal? Like, give me just.
Actor. Ours is over, and I'm just looking for the next thing.
I want to mention because you also did a lot of like security and bodyguard work for stars, people from Liza Minnelli to Sylvester Stallone, and a lot of people. I know you obviously got
Sean Penn, who wrote the forward for my book. He wrote a 2-page forward. He's great. And Sean's one of the actors, not only besides his dear friend and close, but after I did 6 years in prison, the very next day he gave me a job.
Sean Penn?
And a lot of, yeah, and I always hold that, and I'm indebted to Sean. He's a great guy and great actor also. So
when you're watching over a celebrity like Eliza Minnelli, let's say, how do you decipher a situation, and how do you handle it differently than you might if you were out with just some friends and something was going wrong? You have to find that control played a much bigger part.
Yeah, especially today, because everybody's trying to sue you. So, but it was one incident with Liza. She was doing a play in New York, and we always go backstage, and it'd be like a lot of people waiting to get autographs and pictures with her. So this one night, I opened the door, and we start walking out, and everybody's like on this side here. And it happened to be one guy standing like on the steps with a long coat on, and I saw him right away. And as soon as we walked out, he went in his coat like this. So right away I pushed Liza, I grabbed him by the throat, and I grabbed his arm, figuring, you know, he's gonna pull a gun out. And he pulls a camera out. And I saw, oh.
Right.
So as he's turning blue and purple and everything, I let go of my soul, boy.
Next thing you're like, here, let me
you gotta worry about not only me getting
pal.
sued, but for the clients also. So we gave him tickets for the front row the next night, so he was happy.
All right, that's nice of you. Congratulations on the book. I'm so glad you were here.
Oh,
and thank you for stopping by. We appreciate it. It's called Street Justice. Believe me, go pick it up. It's worth it. Chuck Zito, everybody. We'll be right back with Craig David right after this. Thank you. Don't worry, they're not going anywhere. Right over there, our guest announcer tonight. You know him from Oz and, of course, the Hells Angels. Say hi to actor, author, badass Chuck Zito, everybody.
Chuck Zito's gonna kick your ass. He's gonna kick your ass.
Chuck Zito. Chuck, usually when people get booked on any late-night television show, especially this one, we call a publicist. They usually say no in our case. We beg them to come on the show. How did you get booked to be on this program this evening?
I just called myself and made you an offer you couldn't refuse.
Yes, he did. No kidding. Chuck actually called here. We were going to play the message, but it was something like, Carson, Chuck, see you tonight. Okay, no problem. How are you, Chuck? Things good with you?
Everything's great.
Yeah? Well, what if I said no to you being on the show tonight?
They'd probably do a live hookup with a satellite from the hospital in your bed.
Yeah, that's what I figured. They would like crack my legs or something.
Yeah.
Is that the theme of this? You're in this new movie, I know, This Thing of Ours.
This Thing of Ours, yes.
Right, what's going on with that?
It's a cross between like The Godfather, Casino. It's another mob movie. I play a rival guy
what a stretch for you.
Kidnaps a guy and threatens him.
You play a guy that kidnaps somebody and threatens them.
Yeah, I torture him a little.
That's like Courtney Love in The People vs. Larry Flint.
But it's a great movie.
That's not a far stretch.
It's a great movie. It just came out.
I saw you you were with, you were doing security work with Pamela Anderson at the MTV Bash out in LA. I saw you there.
Yes.
And you still do a lot of that. People may not realize, in fact, I knew you were coming on tonight. I'm shocked that to learn not only how many people you have done protection work for, but how long you've done it. You and Pam. We have some pictures here, but let's see Chuck in action. There's you and Pam taking care of her. How long have you been working with Pam?
Pam, I've known Pam 11 years now.
Right.
Also, I did Magic Johnson.
Right, okay. And next up, you've actually worked for a president, actually presidents. There's you and Bill Clinton. Bill, good guy?
Bill Clinton, yes. We used to jam together. I play the drums. He plays the saxophone.
Right. And let's see this next one. Speaking of presidents, there's you at the Yalta conference. Chuck, were you guarding Churchill, FDR, or Stalin? Which one were you looking out after?
Well, I remember that conference. That was so boring. I was doing FDR, actually.
Yeah,
It wasn't until that night we went to the strip club.
Yeah, right.
They loosened up, let their pants down.
Yeah, there you go. Then things got smoothed over, no problem.
Everything got smoothed
This next
over.
picture I found of you, again, you've been doing this so long protecting people, I found very surprising. Let's put that one up. Chuck, do puppets really need protection?
Well, you'd be surprised how many death threats Big Bird got.
Oh, really?
You think the streets of New York City are tough? Wait till you go to Sesame.
I didn't even know Sesame Street was a real place.
Oh, it's real.
Yeah.
Forget about it, man.
It's where all the crack whores hang out now, down in Sesame Street. It's the dude in the trash can pushing out of there. And this must have been one of your first protection gigs. We found this photo. Put it up. There's Chuck Zito guarding Jesus at the Last Supper.
That's my only client that got away.
Yeah, Jesus should have afforded you for a day of protection just one more day. That would have been nice.
One more day.
Fantastic. Chuck Zito, everybody. We're going to take a quick break. When we get around, we got a big...
You take my shoes.
That was Chuck Zito at the Last Supper guarding Jesus. Did you see that?
No.
Unbelievable. He's bodyguard to the start. Do you know Chuck Zito?
I know Chuck Zito.
Yeah, he's the man. Yeah.
I got nothing. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say here.
Don't be intimidated. That's what I mentioned.
I'm scared. He's huge. He's monstrous.
Yes, he is. But he's a sweet. He's a very, very good guy.
He's a gentle soul.
Yes.
Jamming good with Weird and Kelly and the Spiders from Mars. We played it left-handed.
Through if you
Oh, went right through that. That's awesome.
Well, I mean, you know, I could be your bodyguard. Here, look. This one's for you.
Listen.
This one's for you.
Listen. Come here. Let me, hold on, come here. Rick, stay over there for a second. He's from Cleveland. Honestly, I would not do that. I am not kidding. All right. Rick Smith Jr., everybody. Thank you very much, Rick. Nice to have you here.
All right, we are just about out of time. I want to thank all my guys. Jason Biggs, Nikki Reed, Rick Smith Jr., our house band, J.J. Appleton, thank you very much. The Last Call dancers over there. Our wonderful guest announcer, our good friend Chuck Zito. Thank you, brother. Always a pleasure, man. Thank you. All right, give it up one more time before we take it.